CM Punk is one of the main stars in the wrestling world whose addition to AEW has allowed them to bring in a whole new audience, with lapsed fans tuning in to see what Punk will do now that he's back. However, with Punk, there have been more than just a few stories about him thanks to his presence in WWE and the manner of his exit. This is Wrestling Up, and here are the wildest stories about CM Punk. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. One night, a bunch of TNA personalities were out for what was supposed to be a nice dinner. Before they knew what was happening, a scuffle broke out amongst them. However, this so-called fight was a one-sided affair, with Teddy Hart getting the better of CM Punk. Sabu, the hardcore wrestling legend, was the one who stepped in and helped calm Hart down. Thankfully, it seemed Punk did not suffer any real damage. The fight itself did not last as others stepped in. Punk had no chance of hitting Hart back as they were pulled apart. All in all, the entire altercation lasted around 20 seconds. Punk himself had no offense, neither was he hurt badly since Teddy was pulled off. To those who were present, it seemed Punk was not going to make a significant comeback. Punk happened to lose his MMA debut fight to Mickey Gall by first round submission, which hasn't helped his reputation either. This one-sided scuffle led others to question whether Punk could possibly have a successful MMA career. Hours before their match at Mania 27, Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler were running through their match in the ring. For reasons unknown, Punk, who was going to wrestle Randy Orton that night, joined the two. He ran at Cole, serving him a knee lift, after which Cole's tooth goes flying. There was blood everywhere, and Punk had started to panic. He apologized and volunteered to pay for dental treatments. Cole was more concerned he would lose the biggest payday of his career, yet Cole has made it clear Punk and him are friends. Sadly, this was not the only dental issue Cole would face that day. During his match with Lawler, he took a missile dropkick to his mouth, which is how Cole ended up losing 2 teeth in one day. The entire situation was unfortunate for Cole and Lawler, considering this match was possibly the worst in the event's history, and Lawler's one and only Mania match. The Undertaker is one of the most highly respected personalities in wrestling, with him serving as a locker room leader in WWE. Despite his intimidating persona, Punk has been brave enough to offend him. Since the dead man takes his responsibility very seriously, he confronted Punk regarding his casual attire despite being WWE champion. Punk completely ignored his advice, claiming John Cena does the same thing. Taker did not appreciate this attitude, as he was concerned about the company's image. Not only did Punk managed to rub Taker the wrong way, he offended other WWE higher-ups. Punk later faced Taker at Mania 29 in a classic affair. He did admit that he never wished to be a part of this feud. It has been no secret that Punk and Taker do not get along. Their relationship might have gotten a little better after their bout. Still, there's a lot to be said about the way Punk left WWE and how it might have affected The Undertaker's opinion of him. There was a point in time where Punk was frustrated with WWE, considering they could not or did not want to push him since his contract would expire shortly after. What they did do was throw him a bone. They handed him a microphone and allowed him to walk out in the arena after one of John Cena's matches. They basically gave him a chance to air out his grievances. In his pipe bomb promo, he called Vince McMahon's daughter Stephanie idiotic and his son-in-law a doofus. Punk spoke of his time in New Japan and Ring of Honor, even breaking the fourth wall. Many believe this promo was completely unscripted, though Punk did clarify that several of his comments were approved. This was chronicled in the WWE CM Punk Best in the World documentary, as the incident made him loved by the media and in demand for his TV and radio appearances. Since Punk's contract was going to expire, this gave him the opportunity to part ways with the organization with the belt in hand. He would have still been one of the greatest technical wrestlers of this generation had he not taken the microphone in WWE, but he probably would not have reached the same stardom. Given the impact, it could have been supposed that Punk practiced that promo, but such was not the case, as it was improvised. Throughout the span of his life, Punk has avoided drugs and alcohol. He has been vocal about his reasons on not consuming intoxicating substances. Punk has also taken proactive approaches in calling out wrestlers who do not follow a similar lifestyle. His advocacy for his cause has even led him to get drug-free tattooed on his knuckles. Despite this, WWE went ahead and demanded Punk take a mandatory drug test, not just once but twice. Allegedly, he was required to retake one test to help out other stars who had failed the test. TSN reporter Aaron Bronstetter shared a tweet last year regarding Punk's drug test. Based on the most recent USADA testing history update, USADA has not tested Conor McGregor since January, and CM Punk has submitted more samples than 4 UFC champions, 3 of whom have competed in 2020. It is vital that fighters pass USADA's protocols so they can fight under the UFC banner. Despite not having a successful career, he has said he is still technically signed to UFC, and most recently did commentary for Cage Fury Fighting Championships. CM Punk came to WWE and made his finishing move, Go to Sleep, famous. Long before Punk used it, it was being used by another wrestling star in Japan. Kenta took to Twitter during Punk's time in WWE and posted a video of him hitting the GTS move on Misawa. Kenta said the video was from the early 2000s, long before Punk came to WWE. Kenta went on to demand royalties from Punk for using the move he created, saying, "I don't give a f." And let me tell you one more fact. I always open my arms for that someone pay royalties to me. Colt Cabana and Punk were best friends. In fact, while going on his tirade during the pipe bomb on WWE, Punk brought up Cabana and talked about how WWE never gave him a fair chance. When Punk left, he went to Cabana's podcast to talk about issues related to the company. Unfortunately, that podcast was the result of WWE bringing a lawsuit, which in turn led to the end of their friendship. Punk had apparently promised to cover legal fees of the lawsuit for Cabana, but after they won against WWE, Cabana tried to sue Punk, claiming he had not fulfilled that promise. In the end, the suit was settled. Replying to a fan's accusation, Punk talked about how if Cabana was in the right, he had settled for no reason. Why'd he ask to settle then? I wanted it to go to trial, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Enjoy donating to the eventual Woe Is Me GoFundMe account. He went on to talk about how he was the one who was sued and he had not started anything with Cabana. Punk would add, "I loved the guy. Would have done anything for him, and the irony is, if he would have just asked for the money, I'd have given it to him. Instead, he tried to extort me." CM Punk's comments have caused issues with several stars. One occasion came when Lana decided she had enough and fired back. Punk was on WWE Backstage as an analyst. There, he decided to have fun with one of the most popular and controversial feuds, where Lashley and Rusev were going at each other. At the time, Lana, the legitimate wife of Rusev, was in a storyline relationship with Lashley, having left Rusev for him. Punk decided to have some fun and fantasy booked the feud between the two in a loser keeps Lana match. Lana had enough, writing in a since-deleted tweet, "I know you've been away from WWE for several years. Perhaps moving forward, you will favor WWE and FS1 by refraining from misogynistic comments like Chica. Thank you." Seth Rollins and Punk were never on the best terms, with Rollins issuing a challenge to Punk to return to the ring only for Punk to ignore him and not accept the challenge when he was on Backstage. Now, with Punk moving to AEW, Rollins has continued to take shots at him. Following the debut of Punk in AEW, Seth made a tongue-in-cheek tweet calling Gable Steveson the best wrestler in the world, and highlighting how he was coming to WWE. Roman Reigns then went on to make fun of Punk's debut, saying legitimate needle moving, pointing out how this year's SummerSlam was the most viewed and highest grossing WWE edition of the pay-per-view of all time. When Punk left WWE, he spoke on many issues in the company. If there was one superstar he targeted more than others, it was Ryback. Punk claims he was legitimately hurt multiple times when wrestling Ryback. Ryback did not take too kindly to Punk saying these things about him, and decided to shoot on the superstar. In a move no one has been able to associate with Ryback, he was sensible down the line, and actually spoke positively of Punk. Recently, Cabana and myself had a talk, and he was very apologetic even though he never said anything, but it meant a lot because we always got along in the few encounters we had. I will never know why Punk chose to say the things that he did, and it definitely did not help my career. All I know is he was banged up and miserable during the periods we worked together. I think people have to look at it this way. How many other people are out there saying that about me? I was always respectful of him in his time there, and before our runs together he was always good to me. Working in WWE though has a way to bring out the worst in everybody. I have made jokes over the years via social media, and it's fun to get a reaction from his followers, but if I were to ever see him I would tell him, if I really did ever hurt you, I truly am sorry, but I don't think it was the right thing to do to say the things you did. Life is too short to hold grudges, and I truly wish him the best in his life. Jeff Hardy's last feud before leaving WWE was with CM Punk. While Punk taking his title might have stung, the complete difference between the lifestyle of the two was clearly obvious. Hardy left and would not be in a good place in his life, having issues with addiction. In one rant, he talked about Punk, opening up on all his issues with him. What the hell does straight edge mean again? The first ever straight edge world champion. I think Christian said it best. CM Punk, I think you're a nerd. I get cocky every now and then and I say, you pay to see me. I made CM Punk a superstar. I'll say it like this, as he sticks up middle fingers mocking Punk. I can't do that in your company anymore, but in this world I can do that all I want to. You should follow me. You should listen to my preaching. It will make you live life the right way. CM Punk, your way is not the right way, brother. That's what's cool about planet Earth. We're all different. If we were all like you, then I'd rather live on Pluto. You're way too cocky inside and outside the ring. It's kinda strange when you go to see some homeboys on shows. You got guys like the Undertaker coming to say, hey Jeff, how are you doing, man? All these other guys going, hey Jeff, how's everything going for you, man? You see me, you never say hello to me, man. Walk by on your way to the shower or whatever. I just leave like, you know, whatever. Yeah, f that guy. I have only one message for CM Punk. F you. I made you the straight edge superstar you are, and I still don't believe that, because I believe you take Ambien to go to sleep, and if you didn't know, that's a prescription. And these were the wildest things said about CM Punk. Hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.